Hey, morning folks. Welcome to your weekend edition of Nerding Out on the Creek. A little bit later post, but it is what it is. So today's workout has a structure of it where it is legitimately standardized programmed rest. Anybody who's been doing CrossFit for a while, you see a workout that has a programmed rest of a minute or less, be afraid. Be very, very afraid. Why? Programmed rest, when it's standardized, allows for the athlete to sneakily go much harder than they normally would. There's also, quantitatively, and we'll talk about the quantitative element of it with a lot of numbers and math. Good luck looking at it. I even have like my smudge marks when I was doing my math. But qualitatively, it lets you do it as well. And we'll talk about both sides of it. This week is a theme. There was a lot of built-in rest in the workouts, but there wasn't a specific and deliberate programmed rest. And what I mean by that is each round of these 5 rounds of today's workout, Ghost Cat, required you to rest for 1 minute after you came in. So your round could be as fast and as slow as you wanted it to, but you always got a minute rest. Whereas yesterday's, it was in a certain amount of working window, so your rest actually varied. If you went faster, you got more rest. If you went slower, you got less rest. So there was this constant sort of scaling back and forth, and I don't mean like scaling and modifying, I mean like, the scales of I work harder, I get more rest, but I've worked harder. And so there becomes that tipping point, or that balance point of too much effort is never gonna get you enough rest, too little effort, and now your time isn't as fast as it could have been, and we are competitive people, so we wanna be as fast as possible. So programmed rest, what does it do? Well, if we look at this, I kind of did 2 versions of today's workout. One where I'm programmed rest, and it's a lot of numbers, and then not programmed rest. None is what I wrote. So let's say I'm an athlete and I can hold 150 for each of those rounds, right? So standard across, I stay at 150, minute 50, minute 50, minute 50, minute 50, my programmed rest. I'm doing a 13:10. So across that workout, holding a minute 50 consistently, doing a minute rest, I've worked 70% of the time. What does that mean? That means work, rest, 70%. If all I did was measure how much work time I did, I would have been, 550 seconds. My total time was 790 seconds. Divide that, it's 70%. That's pretty damn good. If you can maintain 70% effort across that 12 to 15, 10 to 15 minute mark, like qualitatively, that's gonna feel harder and harder and harder. If I come out, that's why we always say like a 3 rounds for time or a 5 rounds for time, come out at your 70% effort and just hold that time for as long as possible. The relative perceived effort will keep getting harder and harder and harder. Well, do the math on it. That's 70%. If we were measuring our heart rate, 70% heart rate is high heart rate training time. Like all of that stuff plays in. That's the magic spot. So now let's say the person who comes out and they do it as a 5 rounds for time. They come out at that 150 pace, 70% effort, but that's too fast for them, right? Like that's probably going to start to degrade because there's no rest programmed. So then they go a 215, then they go a 230, and now they've hit fatigue because they're at 7 minutes, 6.5 minutes of work, 3 minute, they eke in a 12:35. Now, they worked less time, so same amount of work, or they went the same amount of time, same amount of work done, divide that by time. Their power output was higher across, it was a 75%, but look at what happened. They came out 100% at that 150, dropped to 81, dropped to 73, 61, 61. So if I'm going across here, right, from a time, minute 50, 215, minute 50, 230, minute 53, minute 53, this person is actually up 19%, 27%, 39% from a intensity aspect. It might not qualitatively feel that way, but that's why programmed rest is so sneaky, because it lets you keep your intensity up here, both quantitatively and qualitatively. You see programmed rest in a workout, be afraid. but show up anyway because it's totally gonna be worth it to your fitness, and that's what makes us better, is fitter, faster. Yeah, see you on the creek.